Hey guys, my name is CarsonLee. Welcome to my channel, and today what we're doing is we're going to re-outline my first novel, Valor, using the Save the Cat Writes a Novel method. So I've already kind of started dabbling in this a little bit, and in this intro I'm going to show you what I've done so far and then kind of vlog as I go along. That's sort of self-explanatory, right? So what I first did was I went through my notes in my copy of Save the Cat Writes a Novel, which I'll just grab to show you right now. This is my copy. I have a whole bunch of sticky notes and things like that in the book. So I went through those and kind of typed up my own beat sheet sort of cheat system, right? But I put in like the stuff that was important to me, or if I had any insights on this book while I was reading that, I wrote those on the sticky notes too, so then I added them to my version of the beat sheet. And then this is my notebook story bible for both of my books, which are companion books. So I will show you what I have done in here, just kind of working mostly on my main character, my hero right now. Her name is Ira. I've been trying to sort of learn from her and from getting to know her better what story it is she needs me to tell. So I'm going to show you what I wrote now. So I started by making this mind map here of just different traits of Ira, how she was raised, how she acts, different relationships, different goals and wants of hers as I try to figure out over here. These are my notes for Save the Cat on her sort of plot, but then trying to figure out for Ira, what is her problem, what is her want, and what is her need. So these are all kind of my general notes that I've been writing in this notebook. But I'm going to end up typing my outline so that I have it on my computer and I can access it pretty easily as I write. So yeah, this is the intro to doing Save the Cat Writes a Novel with Valor, and I'll talk to you guys a little bit later today when I actually really get into it. Okay guys, so it's a little bit later today. I ended up applying for some jobs and doing some other odds and ends, and now I'm back to working on Valor. I'm going to take you into the living room and set you up to do a little bit of a time lapse, but I wanted to show you what I just set up for myself in terms of like starting to kind of parse through Save the Cat Writes a Novel. What I have for myself are index cards. If you've been around this channel, you know how much I love them. But what I did was I labeled Act 1 in the green, Act 2 in the pink, and then Act 3 in the blue. And then on the back of each of them, it has what number in like the beat sheet it is. And then for the finale, which is broken into like 5 subparts, which the book says you don't have to use all of the 5 subparts, and I don't really know if I'm going to end up using all 5, but I did make an index card for all 5, and then they're labeled with like the letter that is. So I'm going to start with these, and I think for me, I just really like to write things down physically first, because then I can move things around and switch things up and like cross things out and erase things and not be worried about backspacing stuff, or you know, like what if you have a good idea, you don't really love it, you come up with a better idea, you erase that good idea, and then, you know, an hour later you realize your better idea isn't gonna work, but you can't remember that good idea. So I just like to have it all written down physically, and then kind of once it's cemented on the index cards, I'll move it over to my computer. But yeah, I'm going to set you guys up to watch me sort of figure out some of these index cards tonight. Hey guys, so I'm going to do an update on Save the Cat. So, I'm getting my index cards out. I finished writing something, at least, on all of my index cards, but I will be honest, kind of around the midpoint, things started going a tad downhill. So I wrote down some notes in my notebook to talk about. It was hard for me to look at this, like this outline here, as a new outline for a new story where I know that part of it is going to have to be rewritten. I just wanted my story to fit this structure, which, like, saying it out loud, obviously it's not going to fit this structure completely because I didn't write it with this structure in mind. I was getting frustrated with myself because I just kept trying to, like, make it fit when it wouldn't fit. And my other note that I wrote down here just says, end of Act 2 is hard. I don't know how to do this. Yeah, so I got frustrated last night. I really struggled trying to figure out Act 2 in general, and then kind of Act 3 and how Act 2 and Act 3 went together, and if Act 1 goes too long. So today I'm going to go at it again and try to be less stressed while doing it and do it better. We'll see how that goes. So I did some brainstorming about things that could go well in the story and things that could go poorly in the story, and I think what I've realized is that my index cards are pretty solid until the B story enters. So 7. I feel pretty confident about these ones in terms of, like, it's not too horribly planned. Although the first 7 of these are just like a couple chapters, really. It's really the beginning of the story. But that means that I have all of these to fix. What I think is wrong is that my timing is off. Yeah. I think my timing is off. I think that something I had as the midpoint should be in the fun and games section, and that something I had kind of like not anywhere needs to be moved to the midpoint. Yeah. So I'm gonna move something to the midpoint and then see if the rest of them sort of fall in line. I also think I'm going to pull out the original drafts and see where this particular event, it's a raid, spoiler I guess, the midpoint event, see where it falls in the original draft so I can see if what I'm thinking even makes sense at all. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So update, it is pretty much already the midpoint, and I didn't know that, so I pulled out my books, and this is part 1 of Valor, and it literally, it's like right at the end of part 1. Did you hear that thunder? So part 1 of Valor, it's split into 2 just for binding purposes, but it's pretty much exactly in the middle. So when I filled out these index cards, I was just not using my brain because it should have been my midpoint initially anyway. Okay guys, I did it. I finished it. Honestly, once I figured out that midpoint, like, the rest of the cards flew by. It all kind of fell into place. So I feel bad being all ranty and upset earlier. I'm coming at you from the light of my computer because it's very stormy outside right now. But yeah, I'm really proud of myself for finishing this. It's not that it was hard necessarily, but it's just a different way of like looking at the story, I guess. And I was kind of surprised because so many of the things that I was writing down, they weren't like actual changes to the story, if that makes any sense. It's still the same plot mostly, but it was a different way of looking at events that were happening. So before it was just like, I guess in the draft, I'm just throwing things in there because there needs to be things in there, and now in the outline, it's like, well, it's doing something, it has a job. So I feel a lot better about that. Yeah, I just feel a lot better about this. My overall opinions on Save the Cat, it was helpful. I do think it was helpful. I think that it's going to be most helpful for me when I start going chapter by chapter in terms of figuring out how long I should be spending on something and where to really increase that tension, because I didn't focus on that when I was first drafting. So I think that will be super helpful, and I'm glad I have these index cards and have all of the plot points figured out. I do think I'm going to go into doing the other characters sort of Save the Cats, kind of like how Jessica Brody in the book, let me grab it, Jessica Brody does the Help. She like plots out the Help, and it shows you how it's not just one character story, it's a whole bunch of character stories. So I think I'm going to try to do that for my other characters before I go into like separating them out into chapters and doing like a really comprehensive outline. And if you guys are interested in that, maybe I'll do a video about that. But yes, this is the end of this Save the Cat Valor vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you use Save the Cat Writes a Novel to plot your novels. I know a lot of people do. This is my first experience trying it, and I enjoyed it. But at the same time, this is a story that I've already written, so I don't know really how it would be in terms of just like starting from scratch. Let me know your opinions in the comments. If you use it, do you love it? Have you tried it and know it's not for you? Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw and you want to see more from me, please subscribe down below. I make writing and reading content here twice a week, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!